President Trump declared that the airspace above and around Venezuela should be considered closed just days after threatening land action in the country, quote, very soon. Venezuelan officials were quick to push back, calling President Trump's comments a, quote, colonialist threat that constitutes an extravagant, illegal, and unjustified aggression against the people of Venezuela. I want to bring in Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Is the president planning to attack Venezuela?
No, he's made it very clear we're not going to put troops into Venezuela. What we're trying to do is protect our own shores. We've made it very clear to Maduro and to the Venezuela people, which they're not the ones doing this, it's Maduro that's doing this, that we're not going to allow them to continue to use Venezuela as a terrorist country to ship in tons of drugs into the United States and continue to kill our brothers, our sisters, our friends and family on the streets of the United States. And so President Trump has tried to do this through closing down international water. They continue to ship drugs out. Now they're starting to fly them into the United States through tail numbers that are being disguised as either commercial flights or private flights. And so the president's made it very clear he's shutting down the airspace. And by the way, we gave Maduro an opportunity to leave. We've said he could leave and go to Russia or he could go to another country. And the Venezuela people themselves have also spoken up and said they want a new leader and restore Venezuela as the country they used to be, a very prosperous country. But Maduro has absolutely ruined that country.
Senator, I want to ask you about that, but you said no troops on the ground. What about military airstrikes inside Venezuela?
No, he has not committed to that either. He is protected or protecting the United States by being very proactive. This is what peace through strength looks like. We're not going to wait until you come to us. We're going to go to you if you threaten our country. You keep in mind, this drug war that has taken place that the Biden administration turned a complete blind eye to in 2024 killed more Americans on our streets than the entire Vietnam War has, and so or did. And so we are being very proactive by stopping them before they threaten us and threaten our shores. And I support the president and what he's doing here.
Senator, I have to ask, he is clearly very concerned about Central and South American presidents allegedly trafficking drugs to the United States. So if that's the case, why is he planning to pardon the former Honduran president who was convicted by an American jury of drug trafficking, who allegedly said, this is according to testimony from his trial, he would, quote, shove the drugs right up the noses of the gringos by flooding the United States with cocaine?
Well, the particular circumstances that I'm not quite aware of. However, I do know we're trying to build relationships with Honduras. We're trying to build relationships throughout South America and Central America because China has greatly influenced those countries in a negative way. And it's not alleged that South and Central America and Mexico is flooding our streets with drugs. We know that's where they're coming from. And so I think by building new relationships, by allowing people to have a new beginning, he's showing good faith, saying, hey, we're going to work with you as long as you work with us. The minute you want to come punch us in the face, you want to continue to send your illegal drugs to us, we're going to be very proactive against you, which this is what peace through strength looks like.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm excited that we finally have a president that's taking a strong approach.
Okay, I understand that presidential power is pretty much absolute, and I get that. But as an ally of the president, as a senator, you, I'm sure, have an opinion. Is, on the one hand, threatening Venezuela and Maduro, while on the Maduro, and on the other hand, saying that you're going to pardon a guy who was convicted in an American justice system for doing exactly what you're saying, you know, intentionally poisoning Americans with drugs. Is that a good idea?
Well, I wasn't involved in the conversations that he had with the president of Honduras at the time. I believe there's probably a good faith that is being stretched forth here. If you saw the True Social post he put out, there was a direct message. I guarantee you the president's foreign affairs approach is one that's being very effective around the world, a lot better than the Biden administration. That's why world leaders are coming in every single day wanting to visit with the president. That's why the president is able to stop 8 foreign wars and hopefully 9 if we can hopefully negotiate a deal between Ukraine and Russia, because the world leaders respect him. And so what the president is doing is always calculated. And I haven't had a direct conversation with the president about it, but I do trust his natural reaction and his approach to foreign affairs, because we can see it's being very, very effective.
I want to turn to new details we're learning about the U.S. attacks on a suspected drug boat, which have killed dozens of people. Now, sources tell CNN that in the first strike in September, one missile disabled the ship and killed many of the crew members, but when some survived that first strike, the military launched a second strike to kill anyone who was left. And these individuals were apparently unarmed, already injured from the original attack. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, I don't know if I believe that at all, because we're doing alleged sources. Nothing has been verified by this. We do know that a survivor that did survive in later attacks was picked up by the United States Coast Guard or Navy, I'm not for sure, and was sent back to his country. You guys reported on that. So I doubt very seriously that took place. And unless there was more to the story that the boat was enabled again and they were trying to run again, I don't know, but I don't think this story is accurate. And we keep talking about something that's alleged. It's alleged. It's not, nothing's been proven at all about this. No one's come out and said it was accurate. It's just somebody by an alleged source that anybody can name or make up that this supposedly took place.
Well, the chairman, the Republican chairman of your committee, Armed Services, in the Senate, and the Republican chair of the House Armed Services Committee have both taken enough, see enough credence in this that they say that they are investigating in a bipartisan way, which we haven't seen a lot of in this administration so far. They're promising vigorous oversight, to be precise. If they find through the vigorous oversight that
they didn't.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, they didn't specifically name this issue. They said of the whole operation that's going on in international waters against these terrorist organizations trying to flood our streets with drugs. They said they're going to have oversight of it. They didn't specifically name this particular situation.
Okay, but
by the way, in the House, they did the same thing.
Okay, as part of that broad oversight process, and if they do find that the defense secretary gave an order to eliminate people who were already injured on a boat, which a lot of legal experts say is illegal. Mark Kelly was just here and he said it's potentially a war crime. Should Pete Hegseth face consequences?
Listen, you're once again making assumptions that's not even kind of accurate, I don't believe. All we're doing is talking about an assumption. This hasn't been proven. It hasn't been said it was actually true. And as far as Mark Kelly, what he says, Mark Kelly is saying the most ridiculous things I've ever heard right now. He's encouraging men and women in uniform to question the orders of superior officers. He just got in saying that the president was racist because he doesn't like brown people. Yet I sit in front of you as a Cherokee Indian, and I'm very close friends with the president. It's ridiculous what Mark Kelly is saying, and he's losing credibility every single day. In this particular situation you're talking about, once again, is alleged over an anonymous source, which the media is really good about always trying to name some anonymous source, and then they make a big deal about it as though it's true.
So you don't think it's true
information. As I said before,
full stop. Do you know that it's not true?
Why would it be true? And then we know that the president, we know that the Navy or the Coast Guard has picked up survivors already and sent them back to the country. So now we're saying that they did it once and they didn't do it again. I don't believe this at all.
Okay. Could that be because a lawyer in the Pentagon said you can't do that again, and then they didn't? Then they actually listened the second time? Is that possible?
No, absolutely not. And I don't know why we're spending so much time on this. The president and the Secretary of War has been very clear they're going to use lethality against our enemies, home and abroad. This has been very clear what's going on right now, that the drug organization that is considered a terrorist organization that is flooding our streets with drugs, that's killing Americans every single day, they're being proactive on it. Good on them. Are we doubting that these drug dealers are actually drug dealers? Do we think they're just out there fishing? Do we doubt that this is a terrorist organization that's killing thousands and thousands of people on our streets? What are we questioning here? These individuals don't care about the lives of our friends and families. Why do we care if we take them out in international water? It is a war because they have declared war on our streets, and the President and Secretary Hegseth is doing exactly what we should be doing, being proactive against our enemies, and that's what they're doing here. And I applaud them for doing something, because the past administration did absolutely nothing why thousands of Americans died on our streets.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that, again, that it's the Republican chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Republican chair of the House Armed Services Committee who say that they want to look at the whole operation, which you just described. Thank you very much.
The whole operation.
Yes, Senator, thank you.
Well, we have oversight.
Yeah.
That's our job.
We
have oversight, and there's nothing wrong with oversight.
Absolutely. It just hasn't always been carried out in recent months. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Subscribe, like, dan comment,
Thank you.
serta share.